Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to certainly thank Senator Fischer, a great teammate in this project, and certainly all my colleagues as well, National Corn Growers President Kenneth Hartman Jr. for joining us to call for legislative action to lift restrictions on year-round sale of ethanol blends up to 15%. In recent years, high fuel prices have hit Americans hard, forcing families to make tough decisions when filling their fuel tank. Meanwhile, unscientific and misguided barriers to E15 have blocked access to this affordable and sustainable energy source and sowed regulatory uncertainty. E15 is clean, sustainable, and saves drivers about 25 cents more per gallon compared to ethanol blends of 10%. Our ag producers face uncertainty every day, as many of you know. From weather to input prices in international markets, biofuels are an opportunity to create additional value from each kernel, all while producing food and fuel. Thanks to America's world-leading innovation, 1 bushel of corn can produce nearly 3 gallons of ethanol, 17 pounds of dried distiller's grain, and corn oil, which can also be used for biodiesel production, and the list is long for other products as well. Grassroots support for E15 is strong. Last Thursday, nearly 9,000 producers from across the country sent a letter to congressional leaders calling for a permanent legislative solution. Likewise, on Friday, 16 state attorneys general wrote to Congress citing my bill with Representative Craig and Senator Fischer, the Nationwide Consumer and Fuel Retailer Choice Act, as a solution to provide long-term certainty, which the Supreme Court has said can only come through legislation. In addition, I'm grateful EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin has indicated his support for the long-term success of year-round E15. It's my hope the Trump administration will continue to partner with us to get this common-sense energy policy across the legislative finish line. It was President Trump's first administration which paved the way for summertime sales, and now it's time that we provide market certainty through law. There has never been a good reason to deny hardworking producers, these family farmers and retailers, producers and consumers alike, the greater flexibility, productivity, and certainty E15 brings to the U.S. fuel market. Let me be very clear. Our legislation is not a mandate. Lifting the restriction on nationwide year-round sale of E15 would unleash investment to contribute an estimated $66.3 billion to U.S. GDP and 188,000 additional jobs. As consumers grapple with energy affordability, we have just scratched the surface of our domestic production capacity. It is time to enact year-round E15 nationwide to provide relief for Americans at the pump and certainty for our producers. Thank you. With that, I want to hand it over to Senator Fischer. Like I said, a terrific partner, a teammate in this project that we know is important to so many states, certainly all across America. Senator Fischer.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. Thank you, Congressman Smith. It is great to be here with you today. The sun is shining, the wind's not too bad. Perfect day, I would say, to be able, first of all, to celebrate the wonderful coalition we have of supporters for year-round sale of E15. And we need to make that permanent. You know, President Trump recognized the importance of E15 in his first administration. And on day one, on January 20th, when he was sworn in, his first executive order recognized the importance of harnessing American energy, and E15 is a big part of that. He's focused on restoring American prosperity, and that starts with America becoming energy dominant. He understands the crucial role of E15 and the role that E15 year-round plays in America's energy independence. The need for a permanent, nationwide solution, it is very, very clear. Congress must pass our Nationwide Consumer and Fuel Retailer Choice Act of 2025. Backed by this very diverse coalition of stakeholders, our legislation would ensure that we have one standard nationwide. It's a win for consumers. It is a win for the oil industry who supports this legislation. It is a win for the ethanol industry. It's a win for corn farmers. And it is a win for rural America. You know, many times we hear folks romanticize rural America. This is a way that we can have the federal government, that we can have President Trump step forward and really support rural America, really support our farmers and our rural communities by having year-round sale of E15. So I would tell you this is my 11th year introducing this bill. It's great to have Congressman Smith and the other folks in the House alongside with us in the bipartisan Senate bill that we have. We need to get it done. We need to get it done now, and now is the time. Thank you very much. Next we have President Hartman.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure to have you.
My name is Kenneth Hartman. I'm president of the National Corn Growers, and I'm from Southern Illinois. We've been struggling here lately, obviously, because of low corn prices and high input costs. So it's time to pass this bill for E15 that would support year-round E15. We've had a call to action over around 9,000 people that have signed in and supported for this law to become reality. And we realize that at this time it's good for the consumer, it's good for the farmer, and it's good for the environmentalist. So in my neighborhood right now, you can buy E15 for about 20 cents a gallon cheaper than regular gas. So this is, we feel like, really supportive of the consumer. Obviously, we've got plenty of corn right now in the United States, and I believe that if we could get this bill passed, we could end up using up 2.3 billion bushels of corn in a year if we could get this done. So we need to get this passed, and I want to thank the champions and the House and the Senate that have sponsored this bill and helped us sign on to this bill, and we need to get this done. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Representative Mellor Meeks.
That's okay. Thank you, President Hartman. I want to thank Representative Smith, along with my other House colleagues, and Senator Fischer as well, for bringing us together today. And a special thank you again to the National Corn Growers for gathering nearly 9,000 signatures, as Ken has mentioned, in support of this vital legislation. When I first came to Congress in 2023, I made a commitment to my communities, especially to our farmers, that I would always be seeking common ground with both my Democratic and Republican colleagues. Biofuels represent the perfect opportunity for us to come together, not just for the benefit of our farmers, but for our consumers, our environment, our economy, and our local communities. This issue is personal to me. I represent one of the nation's leading corn-producing regions in central Illinois, and I see firsthand the tremendous impacts that biofuels can have. Biofuels help lower gas prices, reduce harmful CO2 emissions, and create critical markets for our family farmers across central and southern Illinois. It is what I refer to as a win-win-win. That's why I've consistently advocated for expanding the use of biofuels, not just in cars and trucks, but in airplanes and ocean shipping as well. And of course, the reasons we are here today is to ensure the E15 is year-round available across this country. Our producers and consumers need the certainty that this legislation is going to provide. I've also been proud to serve as the lead co-sponsor of the bipartisan Next Generation Fuels Act, which would require automakers to optimize their engines to run on higher blends of ethanol. I've also introduced legislation with my Republican colleague, Congressman Mike Flood from Nebraska, to ensure that sustainable aviation fuels made from ethanol and biodiesel are on a level playing field with those that aren't. Taken together, these efforts will empower emerging markets, strengthen our local economies, and help lower prices for consumers all across this country. Let's keep moving forward across the political divide to support our farmers and deliver results for all Americans. Thank you, and I'd like to welcome to the podium my friend Congresswoman Hinson from Iowa.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's always a great day when we pick up a little new hardware to get out there and show our colleagues what we're all about and talking all about today. Thank you, Representative Smith, for your continued work and leadership on this legislation. You know, here in Congress, we talk a lot about unleashing American energy production, and I see no better way to do that than to allow E15 to be sold year-round nationwide. Iowans certainly know that our biofuels are the homegrown energy solution. My home state of Iowa produces almost 30% of all of the ethanol sold in the United States. So year-round E15 is a win for Iowa farmers. It is a win for those consumers, minivan driving moms like me that want to put it in their car, and a win for American energy independence. Farmers and biofuels producers really do need long-term certainty, and this bill provides that. It is high time for our colleagues to join all of us in supporting consumer choice, unleashing American energy independence and production, and also bolstering our rural economies by allowing this year-round E15 to be sold nationwide. So I think we've done a pretty good job of making our case. It's my privilege now to invite up to the podium my good friend from Nebraska, Representative Mike Flood.
Both the Cornhuskers and the Hawkeyes don't agree on much in November, but we agree 12 months out of the year on E15. This is a great day, and the sun is shining down on a bill that makes a difference in our communities. You walk into my office any given day, and I've got the price of corn and the price of soybeans posted from the David City elevator. That price of corn is the lifeblood of our economy in states like Nebraska, and Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota, so many states in America. Administrator Zeldin and President Trump's recent decision to allow E15 year-round across the Midwest was good news. It's also a critical step in helping Americans keep access to American-made, clean, affordable fuel. The next step is E15 for all, year-round E15 in all 50 states. Expanding year-round E15 access will significantly benefit our rural communities. And not just the farmers that live there, the doctors that work in the hospital, the teachers that work in the schools, the people that pay the property taxes to make America and the middle America so great. One of the things that people don't realize about rural America is that we raise young people that are socially mobile. You can grow up in a low-income home in Hardington, Nebraska, and because of the way our school and our communities are built, you are expected to do great things in life, whether it's be a CEO, be a teacher, be a state trooper. These young people from middle America end up the CEOs of some of our biggest companies. I tie it all back to ethanol today because this keeps rural communities alive. And I'm here to support the people that have been have been leaders on this for the decades before I got here. We saw what ethanol did at the beginning of the century. Wait until you see what E15 year-round does for this great country of ours. It's a game changer. And with that, I am very proud to introduce Representative Baird from the great state of Indiana, the sole Hoosier up here today.
I think, did you mention Indiana at the very beginning?
Yeah.
I just wanted you to know Indiana does raise corn. So thank you, Representative Smith and Senator Anyway, this bipartisan bicameral legislation would extend the Reed Vapor Pressure RVP volatility waiver to enable the year-round nationwide sale of ethanol blends up to 15%, and it allows for the sale of year-round E15. I've been a strong supporter of year-round E15 to help guarantee more certainty for our biofuel industry. This has been a priority of mine as a member of Congress Biofuels Caucus, and I'm fortunate to have the new Poet plant in Cloverdale, Indiana, as Poet is the world's largest biofuels producer. We also got done at the end of last year with a CR. Having year-round E15 will support farmers and the biofuels industry in Indiana and across the country. It will promote our energy independence and lower prices at the gas pump. I'm optimistic we can get it done soon. President Trump took steps to make E15 available year-round through his executive order declaring a national energy emergency, which he signed on day one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all of my colleagues and certainly stakeholders are here and excited, grateful. Happy to take your questions since votes have already posted. We have a couple minutes, but go ahead.
Hi there. If you could talk a little bit about the bill needs a vehicle. It needs to ride on something. It was in the CR and then it wasn't last time around. It's not on this CR either. What's the path here? What is this thing going to find itself stuck to that gets to the finish line?
Well, we want to be ready. Certainly we were at the end of last year, and I was encouraged by that, even though it didn't work out all the way. But I think an appropriate vehicle, energy related, is an important, I think could be a good opportunity, realizing that this is about solutions, certainly as our economy, it tells us all the time that more energy sources is a good thing. What else? Yes.
At a time when Trump is saying, drill baby drill, how does E15 fit into the energy profile? When he's so emphasizing, energy that comes out of the ground?
Well, liquid fuels, I think, are important. We find a lot of partnerships now with other liquid fuels, primarily petroleum. That wasn't the case not so long ago, and so I think there are great partnerships that have formed along the way, coalitions that have formed, and certainly moving forward, sustainable aviation fuel, I think, is an important development. And like I said earlier, we see new products coming out of a kernel of corn all of the time. And I think we'll learn even more in the coming days about exciting new developments. I don't see airplanes running on batteries anytime soon. Feel free to chime in.
Grow, baby, grow.
I wasn't sure anyone was still back there.
All of you beyond and the blow.
That's right. Anything else? Well, again, thank you to all the stakeholders here. I see a lot of familiar faces. We've been working on this. We can't let up. I'm glad we have a friend in the White House where he's already signed the executive order, as we know. It's time to bring certainty, not that government's controlling or mandating anything, but certainty of public policy. So that we can see retailers engage with consumers more and more all the time. Let's provide more opportunities there for consumers ultimately, and we can all be better off. Thank you. Have a good day.